Welcome to Ascension with V, where we talk about spiritual awakening, ascension, and everything in between. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we have a special guest who's about to take us on a journey with their unique gifts and experiences. Martina, welcome back. And if anybody does not know you, please introduce yourself and what you do and your business, and we'll go from there.
Yay! Hello, welcome back, Stashia. Thank you so much for having me here. And for anyone who doesn't know me yet, I am Martina. I work as a medium and as a coach and teach people how to connect with their intuition and use their psychic abilities in order to make the best life possible and remember their own inner light.
Yes, and your business is called Own Your Magic for exactly that reason, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so we had kind of like a little mini spin-off session prior to us hitting the record about a plethora of things, and that's why you're a frequent and reoccurring guest on this podcast, is because we work very well together and we always have no shortage of topics to talk about. But you shared something about the timelines prior to us recording, and I'd love for you to get back on that because we were going to talk about kind of what it means to live ahead of timelines and what timelines are kind of like and how people can experience their own timelines and things of this nature. So on that topic, can we dive back into essentially the story that you had?
Yeah, absolutely. This weekend we had a lot of snow and ice fall in Switzerland, and the streets were very, very slippery, but I didn't know about it. So I was driving because I was just on my way back home. My daughter was in the back seat, and all of a sudden I was going into a curve and my car kind of broke out and spun around. And the reason why I'm mentioning this was because while I was sitting in the car, I could literally feel all the timelines collapse in the moment. Like for me, it was just complete surrender and total trust of it's going to go well. And it also did go well, but it was just such an interesting feeling because I knew there was nothing for me to do or to try to manage other than respond with the right movement in the right moment. But that almost happened naturally. And I think this is actually how we are supposed to live our life because we are so connected to the above, and then we act accordingly in our life and we call in the things we want or the experience we want to make so much quicker.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is that moment of absolute surrender, that rapid surrender. And I feel like that's something that it almost always takes something like that for us to like hone back into like, whoa, this is what it feels like to have this rapid surrender. I think my equivalent to that would be like one of the multiple times that I've had like a near death experience, or having a resuscitation or something of this nature. But prior to getting to the point of being like, oh, this is it, prior to getting to that point of being like, oh, this is it, like it's like very calm, very peaceful, and then obviously I'm here. So like things worked out, but it's that moment of just accepting what's happening and just being okay with it. And it does this thing of clearing out a lot of not even just like future timelines or past timelines. It's everything, and all there is that now
Yeah.
moment.
And the funny thing was, I was listening to an episode of someone who was talking about exactly that. He was talking about the samsara, or the when you're in the all we're all one or connected space where it's static, and
Right.
that's what you kind of experience in that moment. There's it's static. There's not really movements to. It's just this blissful experience you have. And so I was listening to this episode, and then this incident happened, and it was so funny because he said he would do some energy work at the end of the episode. And so when I experienced this, I was able to look back at all the times where I was kind of in extreme situations, and exactly the same thing happened, where I was like in this super deep connected state of where we're really from. And at the same time, just being able to handle accordingly without using my brain for it.
Exactly. Exactly that. Exactly that. And it's an intriguing experience to have because it lets you know exactly how much is possible without like your mind kind of effing you in the process. Like if we were able to hone in on that and be that way all the time in every aspect of our life, the amount of magic and miracles and manifestations that would happen at such a rapid pace would be unbelievable, honestly. But it usually almost always is that our conscious mind kind of puts the brakes on that feeling, on that experience for us because it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel natural to us.
Yeah, it doesn't. And I think the interesting thing is after you could just move on and like not make a fuss about it, but then the brain kicks in and brings up all the scenarios of what could have happened. And then that's
Right.
where you feel like, oh man, this could have been really bad, or you should be in shock or whatever. And so yeah, I know it's really interesting to be a human.
To be a human having these human experiences. I'm looking forward to the time of us being able to get more in tune with how we are again, like in those moments, but how we are as a divine being having a human experience. Like having the equal portions. Preferably, I would love to have like 2 scoops more of the divine being portion to the human ratio, because again, because again, in that moment, you're able to do so much more. And I think that's where we're headed, honestly, like at this time from like 2025 to 2027, a lot of us who have chosen the ascension path, a lot of us who have chosen to do the healing and the growth and the evolving and all the things, this higher consciousness that's happening, these activations that are happening. So it's a lot of the deconstruction of what is not and what's not supposed to be and what we're not supposed to be doing, and more of like some adding in more of those scoops of the divine of what is supposed to be happening, what we are supposed to be doing, what our natural homeostasis self is like. And I'm excited for that. I think a lot of people are not feeling the greatest about, things that are to come for the year or what have you. But I'm excited. Energy, the energy of this year and the coming years is like very empowering.
Yes.
Is very, yeah. I'm like, do you feel that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm honestly so stoked. Like I'm beyond excited because
Yes.
there are so many people who experience the crumbling of their world right now, and that's what feels
Yeah.
so terrifying because they may never even have experienced a glimpse of that before. They were same friend circle all the time, same job all the time, same relationship
Right.
all the time, and now things are falling apart, and it's like, oh my gosh, for so many people. And it's so
Right.
cool to be able to be there and be of support,
Yeah.
and also knowing that we manifest so much quicker. So um when it comes to, I know you experience that too, that you kind of live ahead of time. You feel what is coming in the next 6 months, but I don't know if you experience that too, that right now it's almost like what could happen in 6 months, but it's already here in 3 months or 2 months, because
Yes.
the feelings and the emotions and the sensations get so much stronger that you can literally call in the new reality in such a short period of time.
Yeah, and I want to expand on that because I mean it's an extraordinary phenomenon to live through, to experience, to feel, to be in every day, and it can be a little bit confusing. We also talked prior to hitting the record about kind of the envisioning of things or dreaming things, but the dream not really being a dream. It's just kind of, shifting the reality into, another timeline that is coming in, or and it has not yet landed in the the 3D physical world yet, but we have shifted our consciousness there. We have shifted our awareness there. Whatever the case may be that you want to try to conceptualize it as, is this where it's an intense feeling of being able to detect. So I'm getting a new car, in the next 4 months, or I would love to have a new car in the next 4 months, but you can feel the energy of, oh my God, I just got this new car. And you
Totally.
can feel how it feels to be driving that car. And then all of a sudden, is next week, and randomly, you're like, you get a call, hey, the car that you've been looking for, is in the shop, and it's, we've got this great deal on it. And now all of a sudden, what was supposed to have been, like you said, 6 months down the line happened next week, because you were able to so accurately, vividly feel, picture, and see that exact situation happening. And I think that's something that a
Absolutely.
lot of us I think that's something that, like, a lot of us have the ability to do, and that's one of the biggest hacks for manifestation. It's kind of like that. What is this line? Fake it till you make it. Kind of. It's kind of
Except
like
for you're
the
not faking it because it's so real in your
exactly
sensations. But the thing for me was, so I told you the story of my house. So manifesting that went like this. But the other thing is, sometimes I can feel my partner who will be by my side so clearly,
that.
and he just
Yes.
hasn't been showing up yet, right? So that's
Yes.
where, for me, and I think for many listeners too, sometimes it gets really confusing because you can feel it so clearly, but it just keeps not showing up
Yeah.
because you're looking too much for the thing to actually come into your life or to read. And so, like, what would you advise someone who has experienced that to navigate, help navigate through, so they can keep steering the ship towards it and not against it? You know what I mean?
So the thing that I have always been advised on or told by God, source, universe, especially in this, and it's interesting. Yesterday or today, there will be a short of it on my YouTube and Instagram of exactly this topic. Talk about being ahead of timelines, right? Like, this is a prime example. Like, I shit you not, this is really a thing. And I said, I get asked, holy shit, this is like I'm having like an out of body experience right now. Like, because I
Ooh,
said, I literally said this, it was literally this exact question
no,
that I
really,
said
I love
in the
when that
video.
happens.
What's happening? Anyways, yeah, but I said I get asked this question frequently, and it went on this whole side note of why a lot of high vibrational, healed men and women, everything in between, are typically single. And they're always like, when is my person going to show up? And I can feel them, but they're not here. And this was what I said in this video. And it's the thing that you have to do is continue holding your center, like holding your authentic energy and power, because they gravitate into you. It's almost like those planets or stars, or I forgot what they call them, like dwarf planets, dwarf stars out in the out in the galaxy, that have to, it's like every so 100 years will they make an orbit around certain planets,
Mhm.
right? But everything literally has to be aligned so precisely in the galaxy for them to come into like close orbit. This that's happening, and that's why you're able to feel it, and that's why a lot of us are able to feel like our people, our person, our significant others coming in. But it takes so long for everything to perfectly align, and what we're meant to be doing is, again, holding that authentic frequency, holding our authentic center, standing in our divine power, so that they can continue to
Keep coming
orbit
closer.
in. Yeah, exactly. Keep coming in closer, like
OMG.
orbiting in closer. But the fact that you're able to, and this is also like part two of the question, is like, why can I feel them? Because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing by
Yeah.
holding your power, holding your frequency, holding your signal out there, and not dropping, because it's lonely, right? Like, it's lonely when you're high frequency and healed and high vibrational, like the amount of people that are up here with us, it's slim. But like when you're in a lesser version of yourself, when you're in a lesser vibration, when you're in those denser energies or those denser dimensions, like there's no requirements to exist there. There's no amount of healing that you have to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, that's what I noticed with my previous partner was our healing journey is done. Like, even
Right.
when we get into a fight or a struggle, it's usually the same thing over and over again, but it takes both to evolve out of it. Even when you do the as a singular person the work, sometimes you still have a lesson in that other person's journey. And yeah, so I don't know, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And then not to go crazy about it, but to just know it was really the time to move on, and you've learned what you need to learn from that
Done
relationship.
deal.
Because I know
Yes.
for me, for example, since I said yes to this project with this house, and I'm still getting goosebumps, I know this is so part of my soul mission that there is just no other option than for my true man to arrive in my life. It's
Exactly.
a done deal. Like, I've done my part and I'm
Yes.
doing it.
You're doing it. You're
Yeah.
doing it. Exactly. And now all that's meant for you to do at this point is to literally hold center, hold your frequency and keep doing what you're doing. Because again, that is literally what pulls them in closer and closer into your orbit. And then that's why you're able to, it makes it a lot easier to be able to visualize. And I know it sounds weird, but I'm telling you what God Source Universe has told me to, not only for me to implement for my partner, but for everyone who listens to this to implement, is like, do the things that you want your partner to do with you and like feel that. So, like give yourself love, give yourself hugs, take yourself out on a date, go the places that you want a partner to take you. This thing of waiting until you have a partner to do X, Y, and Z is not it, because
No.
you literally have to have that experience. Like you set the tone and the precedence for how you want to experience a relationship with an external person by
Yeah.
how you're doing it to yourself, and that's a thing. My biggest advice on that, really honestly, is hold your center, hold your make sure you keep holding your authentic signal and frequency and standing in that highest frequency, and not drop down just so that you can have companionship, just so that you can be not alone. Like, don't settle.
I think it's so important to not cheat yourself.
Facts.
Because I was just talking to a lady today, and she also is just dreaming of her partner and whatnot. And the thing is, so for me, I know with the project I'm on, like, love is not even on my side anymore. But the
Right.
thing is, I just know it doesn't need to be anymore. Whereas before I was constantly searching to recreate that feeling that person would create, or I imagine that person would create within me. So I was always looking outside of me.
Yeah.
And 2024 really forced me to pick up the things. Like, beginning of 2024, I would have never said yes to the project I said yes to now, because I was still in that position of waiting for the other person to be here in order
Yeah.
to do the things I want to be doing.
Yes.
And with her, it's the same thing. Like, she's been kind of subconsciously waiting for the man to show up so she can finally start writing her book. But I told her
What?
today,
Wait,
no,
what?
you need to start writing your book so the things can come in. Like, don't do it the other way around. But I noticed that with some, especially women, that they think they need to
Yeah.
wait for the
For
man to arrive, to hold the cacao ceremonies together, to, I don't know, do the trip to Peru together, whatever. But no, you need to do it on your own.
just do it.
And then, because you're in your power, you have fun, you enjoy what you're doing, who you become in that journey, everything comes in.
Yeah. And as you say that, like I was having mad flashbacks of me like being that way. Not so much of like, well, I'm not gonna do any. I don't know. I mean, I have to pause here and I'm like, is that what I was doing? Is that the reason why that I was like, look, I am like, this is me having like the like extreme self-awareness, like in introspection. I'm actively, this is me in real time introspecting and checking myself like, was that what I was doing? Is
Yeah,
that what happened? Hell, it might have been, but in general, I was having like very vivid flashbacks of me, again, because as as women, we do, and I'm sure like men want that as well. Like so they like everybody's involved in this, but I'm just saying, speaking as a woman, it's like a natural thing of you wanting to have your significant other, like your partner, and I don't even like saying the thing your other half because you're a whole being in yourself, literally like you're whole. I hate that. My other half. No, no. No.
my
No.
other fool.
You're yeah, your other full. No, no. Like you're a whole, you have the divine masculine, the divine feminine within you. Like you're a whole being on your own. But I a lot of us want to have that, like, oh, I want to have my person, before I go out and try to do I I had this friend that was like, I have these tickets. I forgot how she got it. She got these travel vouchers to that Sandals Resort. You know what I'm talking about? It's like a Jamaican resort. It's called like the Sandals Resort. There's always commercials for it.
Sounds
Anyways,
pretty good.
she had got these, yeah, and she had these two travel tickets, vouchers. I forgot what happened, but she had the vouchers for it. And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna wait until I meet my person to go because they didn't expire." Like, what? What do you mean you're gonna wait? And you're gonna wait until if you don't go? And she's like, I don't feel like I should go by myself. Take a friend then, But like you waiting to just do things until you have a person. And my my personal experience was again wanting to feel in the past, the flashbacks where I didn't feel safe enough, like I didn't feel
Yeah.
secure enough in myself, but it was literally just because, like, now hindsight, like my divine masculine and divine feminine was not there. Like it was not balanced at all. Like it was almost virtually non-existent. And
Or
side
just
note
very
for anyone,
wounded.
this is that.
It's
Yeah,
like because I used to think I need a man, so it's funny, then I would be safe, I would be protected from other men.
right,
It was this like weird thing that if I have a boyfriend, then no other man is going to touch me or look at me, or I don't know, it's just really weird until I realized that
right,
that is still not the case. Like I can have a boyfriend and others will still hit on me or make me feel or
right,
make me aware of my insecurities and whatnot.
right.
Yeah, so at that I got really to heal over the last few years, which is beautiful because yeah, it's literally walking through life differently than before.
Yeah, and it is. It's exactly that. Like having the wounded feminine energy, of like feeling like we don't have our power, we can't protect ourselves, or we can't stand up for ourselves, or we can't defend ourselves, or whatever the case may be. Again, like I said, having this hindsight moment, it was definitely just that. It was just, but then something, then it was like I had the opposite situation happen where like I got out of my too wounded feminine and then I just went into like too masculine where
Mhm.
everything was just out of whack for like a long time, and then I got to the thing of where like again, like if I'm just like super hard and not, then nobody will I guess it's what happens when with men, they get into that like over masculinity. Do you know what I mean? Like toxic masculinity almost to a degree. It's almost like what I was like, where I was like, nobody's gonna mess with me and
Yeah,
X,
but
Y, and
I mean, that's totally normal. It's the same thing. Usually, when you go into a relationship and you have a really intense experience, you go for the exact opposite and you have another really intense experience until you realize this is both not what you want, but you'll find not the middle, but you'll feel so clearly through both of those experiences this is what I was looking for. So I truly believe you need to swing the pendulum left and right to even find
Yeah.
your own center or to know what
Your
that
center.
even feels like.
Exactly. Exactly that. And I also learned and experienced that, again, obviously this is a hindsight thing. When I was making one of my recent course videos, I said one of the things I experienced in being too feminine, like balanced feminine, but one of the things that I found of being in my too feminine phase was that the partners that I was attracting were in that too masculine energy. Like where it was where it was like almost kind of like that caveman energy, like this my
Of
woman, no
course, yeah.
one touch. Yeah, like
And you're
it
like,
was
I'm a free being. I'm not a submissive
yeah.
something.
He literally was this was like the kind of men that I was attracting in where they like where they were like, you're so beautiful that nobody else needs to see you, touch you, look at you, think about you. Like if I even see someone in their dreams dreaming of you, I'm coming in the dreams and socking them out, kind of like it was too much. It was
Right.
so much was we're literally but then and then it hit me. Like I'm good at spotting patterns, but it hit
Mhm.
me. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Why does this keep happening? And it was because, you know, like I was emitting strong like damsel in distress type energy. And that's what happens. And also same like on the flip side of it, you know, if you're too much in your like masculine energy, if you're too much in your masculine energy, like as a woman, then you will attract like the opposite of like too much in the feminine
Very
men, where like they
dramatic man.
yeah, literally that. And I'm like, what's happening?
I should be responding to life like this. You-
What is this? You know, and I just so it does have an effect. And but then the rebuttal that I got from a client recently was that she's like, well, now that I'm balanced, she's like, I don't have anyone. So what was the point of that? And like, it's because it's slightly the unquote downside of it is when you're healed and you're balanced. Like I said, like the requirements are higher to have access to you, and the amount of potential suitors who can meet those requirements are less. So it's
Well,
just
I'm not sure if that is true or not, but I think you learn to regulate your nervous system in a new way. So it just will feel wildly different than from the experience you made before, because before you probably trauma bonded or
yeah.
I don't know, got more traumatized or whatever. And then you realize that your peace is so valuable that you just become
Yeah.
much more selective. That doesn't mean that there need to be less potential partners. You may just, I think
You're
you
just
go down to the 0 point where it seems like there is literally nobody until the
yes.
people who actually feel attracted to that new energy you send off can show up.
Right.
It's the same
Start
with
showing up
business when you raise your prices or you just raise your own standards for your clients you want to
for
work
your
with.
client.
Sometimes there is literally no one coming into your space for the first month, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's boom and they're all here. But I think it's the same with partnership. I don't
It
know.
yeah. Yeah, and no, I mean it's definitely that. That's like that's the best way of explaining it, honestly, literally. Because it's a repetitive question that I get. Why am like I used to have, you know, guys all the time, not even just like romantic, but like platonic people being in their you're in their reality interacting with them, and they're like, and now it's I'm like, it's cuz you're, you know, you you've changed, you've grown, you know, and so now you just got to let your people come in to you, let the orbit happen, you
Yeah,
know. But
and
it
also I think this is also part of this transition that we're going through right now, that so many people experience solitude for the first time in their life. The old is no longer fitting, the new is not quite here yet. I mean, for me, that's been part of the last 10 years. Like, I, I can write 10 books about it probably, but
yeah.
having the courage to let go of old friend circle of anything that's literally no longer a match. And that doesn't mean you need to push people away, but have
Right.
them fall away naturally and
Yeah.
keep consistent, again, as you said in the beginning, with your power, with your vision, with your energetic blueprint, so to say, and then everything is starting to, and it may just not happen at the speed you're
At
used to
this
or you want it to
exactly.
be. And solitude is such a beautiful place to be in when you learn to appreciate your own company.
Yeah.
And I feel like in society it's such a bad thing to be on your own, but you're not
Alone.
lonely. Like, there is so much you can connect yourself with your heart,
Yeah.
with your guides, with your vision. And the fun thing is, no one is interfering with what you want to create. Literally no one.
Right.
Like, it's so
Right.
fun.
Literally no one. Literally no one. And that's also a thing that I think I know that there's a lot of people where what you've just said on this shift taking place is like terrifying for a lot of people because of exactly that. There's a lot of people who are not used to being alone, not used to, not having the like entourage of people around them all the time, having all the friend circle, even if they know a lot of y'all, I'm talking to y'all, I'm calling y'all out now. Y'all know these are not your friends. Like like if you stopped performing the way that you have been performing to keep these people around, you know good and well that they wouldn't be around. And that's like this is what this is what I'm talking about. Like there's coming a time right now that's upon us where your mask will drop because it's just time, especially if your soul has signed up for this ascension process. The universe just takes over at some point and says like, okay, I see you're not wanting to do this willingly, so let me just go ahead and help you out here. It happens.
It does.
It just happens, and these fake friends will fall away naturally.
Either
And you
in a
can't,
smooth way or a painful way.
or a painful way. Right. One of the two. And, it just because at the heart and soul level that these are not your people. Like, even if these are family members, these are not your people. These are not your friends. These are not the people the person that you're supposed to be in a relationship with. Like, if you feel like you have to water yourself down or drink yourself down to be accepted or around these people, like a lot of times there's this thing where people feel like they need to take substances or drink alcohol or whatever the case may be to be accepted by the people that they used to hang out with before they started growing and healing and doing all the things, right? And
Yeah.
now that they have started this process, they're like trying to hide it so that they can still keep these people around, but it's not they're not meant to go with you, and those are not your people.
No, and it's okay to become uncomfortable to some people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they will be gone forever. Sometimes you just rearrange things so you can meet again in a different way. But like, for example, with people or family members close to mine, that there needed to be this huge detachment process. And now I can go in, but I can be myself and I can
Right.
walk out and I don't care as much anymore what someone is thinking of me. What before would really throw me off and like have me go down the emotional spiral. But because I know now my mission is so much bigger than that, it's different. But sometimes in the beginning, this process can feel painful. It can feel
Rough.
rough. It can feel weird, but it's not eternal. And I think
Right.
you just need to hear that, because sometimes you're like, you're going to be on your own forever. No, it's for
Yeah,
you.
like,
So you
oh,
can connect with your own soul and come out
yes.
stronger in your own essence. Like, this is
Yes.
what excites me about On Your Magic as well, or even like being on podcasts with you, because I just know maybe that's just the wisdom I got to accumulate over the last 15 years, that nothing is eternal and things can change. And the funny thing is, so I just feel called to share this right now. I had a
Yeah,
really
go ahead.
challenging relationship with my biological mother.
Mhm.
I was 13 when I chose to stop being in contact with her at all. And so we didn't really have any connection for 10 years straight. And then at the age of 23, I asked myself, if she would pass away today, would I be okay? And I was like, fuck, I have some work to do. I think I mentioned this even in the last episode, but now it's coming up again because in those 10 years, she went on her own process. Now she still has her challenges and so on. But at the age of me being 30 was the first time she was able to tell me how much she loves me, that she always was dreaming of having a girl, whereas before she would always say she only wanted boys and such. But it's possible that people go through their own growth journey while separate from you, and then you meet again and you can see how much you've grown and how much that person has in their own unique way ascended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it, the time is also interesting. Same situation as well. I think I was 12, but mine was with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of got our relationship back on track when I was like 27,
Mm-hmm.
28. But like, it kind of same. Honestly, my entire family has been, it's been I know, like I came here to help get my family on board and help everyone heal and go through this process. But like it was rough, but I have been able, like you said, I've been able to kind of see the growth, the process, the change within, the family members. But there was a long time where I had no relationship, even though I lived with my mother, like things were rough,
Mm-hmm.
with everyone in my family, because it just, but as far as my mom and my dad and my sister, we none of us had like a really close relationship. And during that time that we were all kind of detached was, like you said, everyone went on their own kind of growth, healing process journey. It's very interesting.
Yeah, so I think for the listener or for you who is listening, it's just very important to know that when you choose to become more of you, people may fall away, but it may also be just temporarily, and it's okay. Like there are so many more who are so attracted to your light because they know they're part of your mission and your experience here on Earth.
Yeah, your authentic self. Your authentic self and signal will attract in your authentic tribe and family.
Yeah,
Really.
and also your authentic partner. So
Right.
stop. It's so funny with my one ex-boyfriend. I used to go fishing. I really don't like fishing. Like it's so boring to me. But I used to do all these things because I appreciated so much spending time with him until it felt like I was fighting for the time so much. And I was like, why the heck am
Why?
I doing this? And so when I go on dates this time around, I invite the person into my world. And if it's a fit, awesome. If it's not, it's also great because then I don't need to find out 3 years down the road.
So what's an example of that, like inviting them into your world?
Being honest about the work I do. Like I used to not share about my sensitivity or my psychic ability gifts and whatnot. For example, that I host cacao ceremonies and also the things that matter to me, what I really value in a relationship, where I would usually wait for the other person to share theirs or not really be honest whether that's matching mine or not even intentionally. Like this was a lot of looking back and seeing, oh wow, I could have shared this differently, or oh wow, this is where I
Yeah.
crossed my own boundary, or this is what he was mirroring me. And so now I do this differently. And the response is actually really beautiful because the respect is much higher, even if it's no match.
Yeah.
Like there is no harmful feelings or anything. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It feels much more clean. I don't
Yeah.
know how to say that differently.
Yeah. So essentially, like, coming out with your truth, just speaking your truth. I said this, and literally when we get done with this, I'm gonna send you this video so you can watch it. Like literally this, but the third card that came out was speak your truth, and it's literally this, like, you going on these dates, but like coming forth with the like, look, this is how I am, this is what I do, this is what I'm okay with, what I'm not okay with,
Mm-hmm.
this is my life type of thing, and like a take it or leave it thing. Cards are on the deck. If you're with it, cool. If you're not, cool. And
Mm-hmm.
happy trails. Have a good life. Do your thing. Yes. Yes.
And it's interesting when you do that, you also notice your own attachment style. And
Ooh,
you can
yeah.
actually consciously move through the barriers or the fears or whatever, like the abandonment issues, whatever there is still left, because you learn to hold yourself through it gracefully. Sometimes not, but then it's also okay.
He said sometimes not.
Well, I just was thinking, I was meeting, I went on a date with this one guy, and he made a comment about becoming unplanned pregnant in a way. Like he made a comment like, oh, and then you just got pregnant with this guy, but it was in a very sloppy way. And it really triggered me big times because I found it so disrespectful.
Yeah,
And
because it
I
is
just
disrespectful.
feel how it's working inside of me. And he was just casually continuing talking. Then I said, you know what? I just need to speak up about this. What you just said was just not okay. And
Not it.
like I could, he was like, oh my gosh, you have a lot of fire. And I was like, yes, and I'm not
Yes,
done. And in that moment, I was willing for him to get up and leave the room. And I knew
exactly.
something has shifted within me. I just knew I've mastered something I haven't before.
Yeah,
And he didn't walk away. He kept staying. So this was a very healing experience to not have him run away. I mean, after that, we didn't meet again, but that's okay.
but
But
still,
we
right,
still had a nice evening together to the end, and we didn't
right.
leave on a bad note. But this was just a very beautiful um
Cathartic
experience.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, listen, that fire coming out. When your fire comes out, especially for the first time on a situation in the past in which you did not speak your truth, or you did not stand up for yourself, or you did not put somebody in their place. And the first time that it comes up and ignites that, man, let me tell you something. That's the most expressive healing experience I could ever tell. You'll know whenever you go through that, you can, like you said, you can feel it. Like you have mastered, like you got the check in the box for like a life lesson that you needed
Yeah.
to master this. You can feel it. Like, yes, level unlocked.
Yes. It's crazy because I didn't even care if someone else was listening or whatnot.
Facts.
I was just like, I'm gonna stand my ground, and if
I'm gonna
you
tell
do
him.
whatever you want to do, like I don't fucking care.
Literally, you got to the point where you're like, look,
Yeah.
you can take all this and some more. This is how I feel about it. And I don't give a damn what you think
Huh?
about it, but I'm going to say it and you going to know that's that fire. It's empowering. Okay, so
Yeah.
how are we able to manage our current realities? We were talking about the realities, but we go off on like a side adventure. I am wondering what's a way, especially for people who have like neurodivergency, I think is a difficult one for me just in general, because I'm always in so many different places and times, and that's something that God Source Universe has been working with me very closely on, is not being in the future, but being here, being in the current, being in the present.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult. It's a lot difficult than I thought that it would be. And I'd love to know your thoughts on why that is.
I feel because sometimes you're already so excited about the future that what you have right now seems like it's not enough or it can't be the truth or whatever. So you try to escape what is now. But what I've learned or am learning right now is to find the satisfaction and the beauty in this very moment and enjoy it to the max. It's like squeezing the lemon to the last drop.
Yeah.
And still having your vision so clear for the future, because that's when also the things move in so much faster to your life, to stop resisting what is now. And also when you have challenges, asking in what ways is this happening for me? Like
Right.
whether you're in debt, like money is a great teacher too, when you're in debt or if you have I don't know, and you can choose. You can feel fearful about it, or you can feel like, oh my gosh, this is amazing because I know how much I can go down this way, I can go the other way, and so whatever it is, the challenge, you have a choice on how you want to feel about it in the now. And I feel like
Right.
when you learn to master that, I think this is what you're working on right now as well, very closely, to keep showing up in this, like in your empowered state. But this also
Yeah.
means that you need to become very aware of when are you actually in an empowered state and when not. And usually when you're not, or I notice that when I'm not, it's because I've been buying into a storyline that I've been telling myself for a very long time that's just
Yeah.
not supporting me in my growth.
Right. Yeah. And beyond that, there's this thing of me feeling like just being enjoying the present and being in the, how do I say it? Enjoying the present and being in this moment and loving this moment, the now moment, will will make me complacent. And that's what I think I have like a fear of being like, uh-oh, like I've gotten too, you know what I mean? Like I've gotten too comfortable here. Like I need to keep climbing thing. And that's like where I feel like I'm always trying to balance, staying in the being okay and comfortable with the current reality, but also not being stagnant and complacent.
Absolutely. But I feel like when you're really honest with yourself and tuning in, you can feel the difference, because when you come from a place of gratitude and it being amazing, and there is so much more, the thrive is much different than when you try to escape the current situation because you feel like you're settling for something that's not for you. I feel like there are two different, it
Yeah.
feels very different in the body.
Right.
The one
Yes.
is very dissatisfying. It's like you're always kind of
Mer.
grumpy on some level. It
Yes.
just
Yeah.
feels
Like
like,
mer.
"Ugh, nah, nah, nah." But the other one is like, what you experience right now is great and exactly what you need to experience. And there is more, and that excitement for the more, or for where you're heading to, it's your driving motor that keeps you going.
Right.
I don't know.
No, literally, it's this, because there is a difference. There is a difference. I do feel it. When I'm like, like this isn't it. Like you said, the dissatisfaction. I'm like, mer. but
Or
but then
also the other thing, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, but the
no, go
other
ahead.
thing is like people who are always pretending to be so humble about everything, but they're actually not very fulfilled with where they're at, but they
Yeah,
just feel like they need to stay modest about things. Whereas in truth, their potential lays in owning what they truly want and then allowing themselves to receive that in order to shoot up like a rocket, like to
yeah,
launch their rocket ship for their true mission.
yeah. And I've been in that as well, where and I have to, like I said, I have to introspect and check myself like in real time. I'm like, am I doing that? Is that what's happening? Am I just trying to be like overly humble? Like, yeah, and like, so it's very much this like balancing act of keeping things in the middle, and focused on what's happening now. I like doing moments of just sitting in silence and taking note of how I'm feeling, like checking in with my body has been a good thing also to try to keep me in the now. Like, what am I feeling now? How do I feel right now? Because when you're here and you're just present, like there's no issues. You're all is well. But it's when you start thinking about past or future that like you start experiencing, I don't know, anxiety or stress or whatever the case may be. But like right here, right now, you're good.
Yeah.
Anyways, Martina, what else? Is there anything else that you want to discuss before we end our episode and all the things?
It feels really complete for me right now. What's on your end?
Same. So, on that note, please tell everybody again where we can find you online and what are some things that they can look out for that you have coming or that you're working on that you want to talk about.
You can find me on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook. I think Stashia will link me under the episode anyway. And I do have my Own Your Magic launch happening. We are going into the second round on the 6th of February. And I'm so excited about it, because if you've been feeling like you really want to tap into your intuition more, you want to awaken and activate your psychic abilities, and you really want to lean into trusting yourself, which starts a lot by trusting your physical sensations and take them for what they are, so you can create change, then yeah, this course is for you, and I'm very happy to welcome you in this space.
Yes. And then it's on your website, right? You have to send me the link for your website, and I'll put
It's
it
on
in the show notes.
Instagram.
It's on
I
Instagram.
will,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm
It's
in
on
the
Instagram.
process of finally having a website this year.
Just fine. If like first of all, if you've been doing business without a website and it's been working for you, it's really not that big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do what works for you.
Yes, exactly. But you can reach out to me on Instagram, especially because a lot of posts are still in German. So if just send me a message, that works best.
Okay. All right, guys. And thank you so much, Martina. And we will see you on a future podcast as well. Thank you for coming back.
Yay,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
sharing your magic and wisdom and skills with us.
Thank you so much. To the next one.
Guys.